Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural meeting of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board, serving the communities of Sioux and Pickle Lake. My name is Brian McKinnon. I am the CAO and Municipal Clerk for the municipality of Sioux and I'll get our meeting started today and undertake the election or acclamation of chair and, if the board wishes, a vice chair. Before we officially call the meeting to order, I want to acknowledge that the new Community Safety and Policing Act, which came into effect on April 1st of this year, represents some significant changes to policing in Ontario and, for our purposes, the relationship between our communities and the detachment that is responsible for providing policing services. One such change is the creation of a detachment board, which is what this board is. Previously, Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake each had their own police service board, even though both communities received policing services from the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment. Under the new legislation, we are now a combined detachment board. As you have all completed the initial online training on the roles and responsibilities of the board, you will understand that the primary function of this board is to provide civilian input into policing services in our respective communities. I also want to acknowledge that much of this is new to us all, and there will be a learning curve over the coming months as the board becomes familiar with its roles and responsibilities. I want to extend my sincere appreciation to Mary McKenzie, who is also joining us today. Mary is the retired clerk for the municipality of Sioux and my mentor, who has been retained as a contractor to undertake some special projects for the municipality. Mary has done the bulk of the heavy lifting on assembling the administrative apparatus required to implement and sustain this board's operations. Thank you, Mary, for your hard work, support, and perseverance as we waded through legislation, guidelines, directives, coaching and input from the Ministry of the Solicitor General and the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards. I also want to acknowledge the support, kindness, professionalism, and cooperation from the clerk of Pickle Lake, Linda Colby. At the outset of the process of building the foundation for the new detachment board, Linda and the Township of Pickle Lakes Council have been supportive of Sioux Lookout's suggestion that we take the lead on the development and implementation of the administrative framework for the detachment board. We want to underscore that Sioux Lookout's contributions to this process are coming from a place of goodwill, best intentions, and general helpfulness. We, as staff, look forward to the board's feedback on the work we've undertaken to date. To that end, today's meeting will focus on a number of administrative matters that the new detachment board needs to address to ensure a smooth transition and that we are set up for success. So, on that note, I will call the meeting to order. Just to acknowledge those in attendance, representing the Township of Pickle Lake, we have Councillor John Miller. Maybe joining us would be Community Member Robert Rasmussen. Representing the municipality of Sioux Lookout is Mayor Doug Lawrence and Community Member Darlene Angikaneb. The Solicitor General has not yet appointed the provincial appointee. We often undertake or share a land acknowledgement at the beginning of such meetings. And if you will indulge, I would like to share the following. This meeting is being hosted virtually from the traditional territory of the Lac Seul First Nation within the area of Treaty 3, and that many people and communities we serve are in Treaties 5 and 9 of the Anishinaabe-Aski Nation. As a way to get to know each other a little better, I would like to ask each board member to introduce themselves and maybe just provide a few quick comments that you'd like to share with the board. I'm just looking at my screen. Everyone's picture, I'm sure, shows up a little bit differently on their screen, but for me, I'd like to invite Councillor John Miller to begin.
Hi, my name's John Miller, counselor at Pickle Lake. Just also business owner up here, run a wholesale company. Um, kind of haven't been a counselor long, just this last term, so things are new to me, especially the OPP board. So I'm learning.
Thank you so much, as we all are. Mayor Lawrence,
Good afternoon again, everybody. Doug Lawrence, Mayor of Sioux. This is my third term as mayor. Started elected in 2014. Been on the Police Services Board. I guess I'd have to look at Brian to help me, but it seems like 5, 6, 7 years. Now it's not the Police Services Board, of course. Um, and what can I tell you? Actually, John, I traveled through Pickle Lake quite a bit when my career was uh, consulting engineer, traveled through Pickle Lake to go to the northern communities quite often. Before scheduled flights were there, we used to drive to Pickle and then charter out of Pickle. So have some familiarity with the community. That's me. Thanks, Sierra.
thank you very much, Mayor Lawrence. And Darlene,
Um, Hello, I'm Darlene Anjkanad. I come from Lac Seul First Nation, but I live in Sulicote, and I work at Equewak Women's Group, which is a women's organization, and I've been here for 25 years. And I've also been involved since I live in Sulicote on different committees and other as a volunteer. I also belong with the Municipal Truth and Reconciliation since about 2016, maybe 17. And then the Police Services Board as the chair since 2017. So I also work with NAN as a residential school survivor. I sit on um, a Safe Council committee, being an advisory to the Deputy Grand Chief Anna Betty at Schneebeneska. So I know a lot about the Treaty 9 and Treaty 5 communities that we serve. And working with the North, our organization, I've been to about 26 of those communities um, with my work in self-government, but also with the building Indigenous women's leadership. So that's what I do. Thank you.
thank you so much, Darlene. Just moving along on the agenda. One of the things that the province requires in the new legislation is that each board member complete an oath or an affirmation. Which essentially just sort of says that the board members will act with integrity and carry out their abilities, their responsibilities to the best of their ability. So what I will do, and this might be a little bit awkward to do online, but if you can bear with me, I appreciate it. So what I'll do is I will do this for each of the members in attendance and we will go from there. So let's begin. Sorry, just having a there we go. Mayor Lawrence, if you can repeat after me. Um, I, Doug Lawrence,
I, Doug Lawrence,
solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada,
that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada,
which recognizes and affirms Aboriginal and treaty rights
which recognizes and affirms Aboriginal and treaty rights
of Indigenous peoples,
of Indigenous peoples,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
discharge my duties as a member of the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board
discharge my duties as a member of the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board
impartially and according to the Community Safety and Policing Act,
impartially and according to the Community Safety and Policing Act,
any other act and regulation, rule, or bylaw.
any other act or regulation, rule, or bylaw.
Thank you. In your agenda packages, there is a copy of the affirmation as prescribed by Ontario Regulation 416/23. If each of you, after I administer the affirmations, can sign and print your name on that form, Mayor Lawrence and Darlene, I'll ask you to return your copies to Tiffany, and I will complete the jurat when I'm back in town. I will ask Councillor Miller, and we will administer the oath to Mr. Rasmussen at the next meeting, or if he joins us a little later. I will ask Linda to get them from you and scan and email them, and then I'll complete the jurat for those as well. Okay, moving right along. Darlene, are you ready to go next?
Okay.
Oh, great, great. I, Darlene Anjikaneb,
I, Darlene Anjikaneb,
solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada,
that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada,
which recognizes and affirms
which recognizes and affirms
Aboriginal and treaty rights of Indigenous peoples,
Aboriginal and treaty rights of Indigenous peoples,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
discharge my duties as a member of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board.
Discharge my what?
Duties.
Duties to the Sioux Detachment Police Board.
Thank you. Faithfully, impartially, and according to the Community Safety and Policing Act.
And according to the Community Safety and Policing Act.
Any other act and any regulation.
Any other act and any regulation.
Rule or bylaw.
Rule or bylaw.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Darlene.
Okay.
And Councillor Miller, you're up. If you can please repeat after me. I, John Miller.
I, John Miller.
Affirm.
Affirm.
That I will uphold the Constitution of Canada.
That I will uphold the Constitution of Canada.
Which recognizes and affirms.
Which recognizes and affirms.
Aboriginal and treaty rights of Indigenous peoples.
Aboriginal and treaty rights of Indigenous peoples.
And that I will, to the best of my ability.
And that I will, to the best of my ability.
Discharge my duties as a member of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board.
Discharge my duties as a member of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board.
Faithfully, impartially, and according to the Community Safety and Policing Act.
Faithfully, impartially, and according to the Community Safety and Policing Act.
Any other act and any regulation.
Any other act and any other regulation.
Rule or bylaw.
Rule or bylaw.
Thank you very much, Councillor Miller. So again, thank you, everyone. If you can each print and sign a copy of the affirmation. And then for our Sioux Lookout representatives, if you can hand that in to Tiffany at your earliest opportunity, I'll complete the jurat when I get back to town. And Councillor Miller, if you can complete yours and hand it over to Linda. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hi, I apologize. I'm not sure what happened there. I had 3 o'clock, so
no problem at all. It's a busy time for us all, and we're just so happy that you were able to join us today.
thank you.
Hi,
Linda,
so yes,
everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
So yeah, we will. Councillor Miller will hand in his affirmation when he has an opportunity, and if you can just scan and email that to me, and then I'll complete the jurat, and then I'll send it back so that Councillor Miller has a copy as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So the next item is just with respect to the the Code of Conduct for OPP Detachment Board members. A copy of that is in your package as well. We don't have to go through this in any detail right now. Feel free to read through it if you haven't yet had the opportunity. We do ask on the final page there that you just sign and date it, just acknowledging that you understand the Code of Conduct. And again, we'll take copies of those just for our records as well.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions on the Code of Conduct, you can, feel free to ask them now or at any other time. We will do our best to answer any questions you have, and if we don't have the answers immediately, we will find them and we'll get back to you. Any questions at this time regarding the Code of Conduct?
No.
No. Okay. Good. Moving right along then. Okay, so next item on the agenda is the election of chair and, if you wish, vice chair. So just a couple of notes about this and how this works under this legislation. So the board is required to conduct elections for chair annually. The position of vice chair is optional, if I can use that word. So it's up to the board whether or not you wish to have a vice chair. So because of this transitional period, the initial appointment of chair will go from today's meeting until the end of this calendar year, as well as calendar year and fiscal year for municipalities. And then when we have our first meeting in 2025, we will do elections again for the role, because the Act specifies that we do them annually. And just to sort of, because this is a transitional year, I think it's just easier that we sort of do one now instead of creating a separate fiscal year for the board that would run from June to June. That could get a little confusing with respect to financial aspects and that kind of stuff. So if that sounds reasonable, we'll proceed that way. With respect to the role of chair, you may have noted in the training that part of the role of the chair is to oversee the administration of the board. We're proposing not to overly inundate the chair with all kinds of uninteresting administrative tasks and duties. So we're proposing that we will have staff sort of serve as the board administrator and deputy administrator, so that the chair can continue the role to oversee, but doesn't have to get bogged down with all the administrative functions. So that's something that we're proposing for, and I just wanted to put that out for your consideration as you make decisions about whether or not you're interested in vying for that role. With respect to the election today, I guess my first question is there interest in electing a vice chair at this time, or do we want to just see how the first few months go and make that decision in the future? I'll stop talking for a moment and listen to the board.
Well, I guess I could ask a question. We're a three, but four-member board, right? I know we've had, between Darlene and I on the previous board, I hope I can say we had excellent attendance between the two of us. But looking at, getting quorum, etc. So having a vice chair, I suppose the advantage might be if the chair couldn't attend a meeting. We don't often, we've never represented ourselves as a board out of town, have we?
No, not up until this point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if I thought there were a reason for that was going to happen, then I would say maybe we need a vice chair. But if we don't see any more of that coming up than we did in the previous version of the board, then Brian, I would leave it. I would take your advice on this. This is what I would do.
Okay. Thank you. Darlene, Darlene and Councillor Miller.
I agree with Doug. just
And Darlene, do you have any thoughts on that?
Vice chair might be handy if the chair is not able to attend a meeting. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That is true. Um, and it's not as if we have to make that decision today. If we do the election for chair today, that's the most important thing. Might I suggest, because Mr. Rasmussen isn't able to join us, at least not yet. There we go. He's just joined. Fantastic. Awesome. Good afternoon, Bob. How are you? Oh, I think you're on mute.
John, I think. Oh, okay. I got it.
Oh, just wanted to check in to make sure Bob can hear us and we can hear him. I think he may be on mute right now, or may just be connecting. Yeah.
Brian, I'm just sending Mr. Rasmussen a text.
Thank you very much. Yeah, technology is great when it works, and sometimes it works really, really well, and other times it's not so cooperative.
Yeah.
Um, hopefully Mr. Rasmussen can hear us, and perhaps for his benefit, I'll just quickly review just a couple of comments, just the discussion we're having about election of chair and potentially election of vice chair. So the role of chair is required. Vice chair is optional. The board is discussing. I am facilitating that discussion. I am not a member of the board. I need to make sure everyone understands that. Even though I've been doing an awful lot of talking so far, I apologize. So the role of vice chair, we could, if we want, we could take a month or so until our next meet, whenever our second meeting will be.
Microphone on. Oh, there you go. Now you're on. Okay, you're good.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, all right.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rasmussen. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's good to be here. So sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So we really just got started not that long ago. We called the meeting to order, and I provided a brief land acknowledgement. The members of the board did a brief introduction. Would you like to just share a couple of words, basically who you are and anything you'd like to share with respect to your involvement with the board?
Well, my name is Bob. And I live here in Pickle Lake. I'm a pastor down at the Mission of First Nations, and we lived here probably 15 years or so. I got involved with the board, I don't know, 3 years ago, I think it was when they first started, and we're just starting to figure things out. Um, so anyway,
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yes, I also shared that comment earlier on about we're all learning and figuring things out with this new process and the new legislation and working to kind of learn things and come together, to provide the civilian input to policing in our communities. So thank you so much for sharing this afternoon. Before we go too further, I also had I have just administered the affirmation, which is a requirement under the oath or affirmation under the Act. Mr. Rasmussen, if you can repeat after me, that would be great, and I'll administer your oath now as well. I solemnly affirm
I solemnly affirm
that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada,
that I will uphold the Constitution of Canada,
which recognizes and affirms
which recognizes and affirms
Aboriginal and treaty rights of Indigenous peoples,
Aboriginal and treaty rights of additional people,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
discharge my duties as a member of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Sorry, discharge my duties
Discharge my duties
as a member of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board,
as a Sioux OPP Detachment Board,
faithfully, impartially,
faithfully, impartially,
and according to the Community Safety and Policing Act,
according to the Safety and Community Policing Act,
any other act,
any other acts,
and any regulation, rule, or bylaw.
any regulation or rule bylaws.
Great, thank you so much. So there's a copy of that in everyone's agenda package, and so at your earliest opportunity, if you could just print that, sign and print your name, and then if you can give a copy to Linda, she'll scan it and email it over to me, and I'll complete the jurat, and then I'll send it back to Linda so you have a fully completed copy for your records as well.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Okay, back to elections. One of the most thrilling aspects of a clerk's job, elections. This one's a little more straightforward than the municipal ones that we do every 4 years. So I'm not quite as anxious about this one as I am about the the municipal ones. So yeah, I think I would like to suggest that we focus today on the election of the chair, and then we give some additional thought to whether or not we want to proceed with an election of vice chair, and if the board so wishes, we can undertake that election at the next meeting or the meeting after. There's no specified timeline for doing that. Mr. Rasmussen, did you have any other thoughts about whether we should do both at this meeting or just focus on the chair for now?
I don't have any thoughts on it, no.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think we'll focus on the chair because that's something we must do at the inaugural meeting. So I will begin by calling for nominations for the role of chair. And again, this is a little bit awkward when we're in a virtual setting, but what we'll do is I just want to note that individuals can also nominate themselves if that is easier. So here we go. Are there any nominations for the role of chair of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board? Mayor Lawrence, you are self-nominating?
No, I'm nominating Darlene Angicanab.
Okay, thank you. And Darlene, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I will accept the nomination.
Thank you. Very good. Second call, are there any nominations for the role of chair of the Sioux Lookout Police Services Board? Sorry, Detachment Board. Oh my goodness, that's going to be an old habit to stop out. Okay. And third and final call, are there any nominations for the role of chair of the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board? Okay, hearing none, I am pleased to advise that Ms. Darlene Angicaneb will be the first chair of the new Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board by acclamation. Congratulations, Darlene.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations, Darlene. Thank you for your service to date, and look forward to it until the end of this year at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
At this point, it's entirely up to the chair and the board. Normally at this point, now that a chair's been elected, I would stop talking and turn things over to the chair. However, seeing that this is sort of an administrative focus meeting, if the chair wishes, I'm happy to sort of continue to facilitate the discussion today. It's a little more informal, I suppose, in some respects, but I'll leave that up to the chair and the board to direct me as you wish.
Yeah, I could take over if you want.
That's wonderful. I've heard my voice more than I care to today, so thank you so much, Darlene. And
Okay.
I'll hand things over to you. We're at item 6 on the agenda.
Yeah, I see that.
Thank
Okay, thank
you.
you very much. All right, so we are at item 6 for this meeting for today, June 27th, 2024, of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board meeting, inaugural meeting. Okay, so 6A, introduction of amendments to the agenda. Anybody? No? Okay. So we'll move on to 6B then. Motion to approve the agenda as presented. I need a mover.
I
Seconder.
move.
Bob moved. Thank you. And seconder, Mayor Lawrence. Thank you. Okay. All right. So the agenda for today has been approved.
Oh, sorry. There should be a vote on it.
Oh, okay. Mover, seconder, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
And raised, yeah. Okay. Item number 7 then, declarations of pecuniary interest. There are none. Okay, so it'll be recorded as none. Item number 8, receive minutes of the former police services boards, that the minutes be received. A, Silicon Police Services Board, minutes dated January 17th, 2024. I printed them out. No, says attached, so we should have had them in the email.
Mhm.
Hold on here. All right. So January 17th at 1 p.m., the meeting took place in the council chambers. The meeting called to order, land acknowledgement, the agenda, declaration, pecuniary interest, approval of the minutes for October 19th was done, business arising from the minutes. There were none. Delegations, committee presentations, there were none. I'm just kind of reviewing right now. Item 8, items for discussion. So we had the fourth quarter statistics from Inspector Carl Duell, and some of the discussion that took place there are in the minutes. And it was a closed session that took place regarding some matters, personal matters for somebody as per section 239B, and the security of a property. Okay, and then so there was A, B, and C on the minutes. And item number 10, the report came out of the closed session and made a resolution or direction for the staff. And no, it says no direction was given to staff, sorry. And then item 11, the next meeting date was set for April 17th. And then we adjourned the meeting, item number 12. And that's it. So those were the minutes from April 17th. If anybody has any questions, comments? No, January 17th, sorry. Just looking at the wrong date. Okay.
I move to receive the minutes.
Okay, Mayor move. Seconder, I guess I would do that for Councillor
I can
John
second.
Miller. Okay. Councillor John Miller, okay, seconds. And all in favor? Yes,
Yes.
it's pretty much, yeah, okay. Everybody voted. We're not used to voting, I think. Okay. All right, item number 9 was delegations and presentations. There are none. And item number 10 now, items for discussion. So 10A, staff report from Brian McKinnon, Board Administrator, dealing with the following. Number 1 is, I guess you're going to do all this, Brian. Number 1, review of the partnership agreement. Number 2, motion to approve remuneration of provincial appointee. Number 3, motion to approve remuneration for community representatives. And number 4, motion to approve remuneration for council member appointees. Number 5, motion to approve the principal 2024 estimates budget, which we received. And the motion to approve apportionment in principle of the following to submit to council for approval, provincial appointees remuneration, community representatives remuneration, and overall budget. And then A, the staff report from Brian McKinnon, Board Administrator, to determine a regular meeting date for the board. But anyway, I'll hand it over to Brian then to do all that.
Okay, thanks, Darlene. Mary?
Sorry, I just, after all the proofreading and stuff, I see an error on page 2. The second staff report should be item B. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know
for the meeting. Sorry.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that.
B in brackets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So everyone, I know that Tiffany, thank you, Tiffany, had sent out the agenda package a little over a week or so ago, or a little over a week ago. Hopefully, folks have had an opportunity to review things. I know it's not the most glamorous stuff that we need to deal with, and I know that. Yeah, it's not always fun, but they are some things that we need to, the board will need to address. So perhaps we'll just deal with sort of each of the items in turn. So the first item is with respect to the proposed partnership agreement. And although this isn't required under the Community Safety and Policing Act, we thought, we'd like to suggest that because the municipality, this is a new setup, and it may be a good opportunity just so that both communities have an agreed to framework of how they're going to work together. Because in the past, there was a little closer affiliation between the board and the councils. This time, with the setup under the act, the board is sort of considered a separate legal entity. So there's a little bit of distinction, a greater distinction there. So the purpose of the partnership agreement really is just to say, we want to work together, and we want to do this because, not just because it's legislated, but because we think it's in the interest of our communities, and will support the work of the board. So the agreement sets out some very general overarching principles with respect to the municipalities, their respective obligations, how things will be carried out, as well as some very specific things that do require approval of the councils, including the board's budget, the remuneration of members, and so on. The agreement isn't intended to address the day-to-day operation of the board. That's the board's business. But again, more specifically to sort of enshrine this desire to work together and support each other, for the Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake councils. So I won't belabor that point. Perhaps I can ask if any members of the board have any comments, questions, concerns with respect to the suggested partnership agreement. Okay, so I'm getting the sense that the board is generally supportive of sort of bring this partnership agreement to the respective councils. If that's the case, that's great. Linda and I will work our magic and make sure that it gets on upcoming council agendas for Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake. To facilitate that, sorry. In the age of technology, it's amazing how much paper is still required. There we go. In the staff report, this matter deals with the first recommendation, and it reads that the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout pass bylaws to authorize the execution of a partnership agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout pertaining to the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board, and that such partnership agreement be executed as authorized. Madam Chair, may I ask you to call for a mover and seconder?
Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah, can we have a mover for this? So, Doug, Mayor. Sorry. Mayor moves, seconder,
I'll move.
Bob. Bob, second. Thank you. And we'll vote on it. All in favor? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, all in favor.
Thank you very much. So the next item is with respect to remuneration. So the legislation requires that the provincial appointee receive remuneration. The legislation doesn't specify what that remuneration should be. And the legislation also doesn't specify if any other members of the board should receive remuneration. So a few decisions to be made on that front. Firstly, staff's thought on the matter is, if we're paying the provincial appointee, I think it's only fair that we pay the community appointees as well. Everyone is expected to do the same amount of work and requires the same level of commitment. So we thought it would be fair to suggest that both the provincial and community appointees receive remuneration. With respect to council, our thought was that council members receive remuneration for their role on council, and they're fulfilling part of their role on council serving on this board. Municipalities do things differently. Some it's included as an overall remuneration. In other communities, there's an additional stipend that's provided for attendance at meetings and so on and so forth. So without wanting to make too many assumptions about how the elected officials are compensated. We do want it to be fair, but we also understand that you know, many communities in Canada, and certainly in Ontario, and certainly in Northwestern Ontario, have tight budgets and so on and so forth. So we just wanted to put that out there for consideration by the board. So I'll set that to one side, and then the other piece, of course, that we need to make, that the board will need to make a decision on, is the amount of remuneration. We're suggesting $2,000 per year, and that's based on a few things. That's based on attendance at the minimum 4 annual meetings. The quarterly meetings, or the 4 meetings per year. However they're scheduled. Any additional, special meetings that may need to be held to deal with specific matters that can't be dealt with at the regular meetings. In recognition of time that is spent participating in training. I know folks have already done the initial training on the roles and responsibilities, but there is additional training that will be coming up that the province requires. So there's some time that has to be dedicated to that. As well as time to prepare for meetings. We understand that, this one is a good example. There's a fair bit of paperwork, reports and things for the board members to consider and review ahead of time. So, recognizing all of that commitment and contribution, that's sort of where we came up with a number of 2,000. Of course, this is entirely up to the board with respect to who and to what extent you remunerate. The only legislative requirement is that the provincial appointee receive remuneration at a level to be determined by the board. So again, I'll just pause there and ask that the board discuss these matters and provide some direction to us.
Yes, Mayor Doug.
So I'm just waiting for anybody else, but I agree with what you've suggested. The provincial appointee must be receive remuneration. It's not specified by the province, and I think it's fair that the community appointees also receive remuneration. The amount you've suggested seems fair to me, considering the number of meetings, the preparation for them, and the fact that it would cover probably several other interim meetings, let's say. And it allows for, if there's a requirement to travel out of town, that would be handled differently. I think that would be clear. And that in our case, I can't speak for Pickle Lake, but for Sioux Lookout, this council appointee doesn't want any additional remuneration beyond my normal council pay. So I'm comfortable with all that you've suggested, and willing to move forward depending on what we hear from others.
I agree with Doug on that. The community appointees should get something. And as a council, I don't need anything. So I'm in agreement with what Doug says there.
Yeah. So that would mean how many members? 3? The 3 or...
Well, it would mean we have if the slate is full, we have 5 members on the board. The 5th being the provincial appointee, which we may or may not have, depending on what they do. So far, we don't have. So once we do have them, it is written they will be paid, and in the meantime, the 2 community appointees, in this case, Darlene and Bob, would be paid if we adopt this.
Yeah. All right. So that would be probably 3 then, so 6,000 a year. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. 250 a meeting. Yeah, prep time for each meeting plus the time to meet every quarterly for 2 hours, say. Yeah, seems reasonable. Okay, so everybody's in agreement. So do we need a motion then to approve their remuneration for the?
Sure, please. And I did slightly misspeak. So in this
Yeah,
case, the board doesn't approve it directly. They recommend it to the respective councils, and then those
okay.
councils would approve that. But yes, so
Okay.
I do have a draft motion for the board's consideration. It reads that the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout approve remuneration for the provincial appointee to the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board in the amount of $2,000 per year for the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board meetings, trainings, and any other detachment board activities to be paid annually at the end of the fourth quarter, with necessary deductions applied if applicable. And further, that this rate be in effect until November 14th, 2026, to coincide with the end of the term of the councils and the community representative appointments. And further, that the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout approve remuneration for the community representatives to the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board appointed by the respective councils in the amount of $2,000 per year for the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board meetings, training, and any other detachment board activities to be paid annually at the end of the fourth quarter with necessary deductions applied. Pardon me. And further, that this rate be in effect until November 14th, 2026, to coincide with the end of the term of the councils and the community representative appointments. Madam Chair, may we have a mover and seconder?
Okay. Who wants to move? Mayor Doug Lawrence moves. Seconder.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Councillor John Miller seconds the motion. All in favor? Yes. All hands raised,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, next up. Okay. Principal. Okay, so to approve in principle, again, this ultimately requires the approval of the respective councils. But for the board's consideration, the act does require that the board put together estimates or a budget, as we are more commonly referred to it, each year. The intent is to cover the costs of the board. Oh, Mary, yes.
Sorry, item 4 in the report, motion number 4 in the report also deals with not giving counselors any more remuneration.
Thank you.
So
I missed that.
It recommends to council, so we might
Yes.
want to deal with that.
Sorry. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
So yes, I was intending to put all of that together in one motion, but I missed that last part about councilors or council appointees. My apologies. So we'll just do a separate motion for that then. The draft motion reads that the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux Lookout confirm that the Sioux Lookout council member appointees to the Sioux Lookout Detachment Board will not receive additional remuneration beyond their regular council compensation.
Oh, sorry, that's my fault again. It should be the
Sioux Lookout
council.
and OP and Pickle Lake.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so so the intent again of this motion is just to say that the council appointees wouldn't receive additional remuneration other than what they receive currently. Madam Chair, may we have a mover and seconder?
Okay. Yeah, we need to move the item, is it number 4?
Yeah, number 4 in the list there. Yeah.
10.4. Okay, that the council member appointees, none in principle, and to submit to councils for approval, including Sioux Lookout and Pickle Lake.
Yes.
We need a mover.
I'll move.
Bob? Oh, no.
Oh, we both raised our hand at the same time.
Yeah. So John and Bob move. John will move, and I'll just put Bob as being a seconder then. And everybody in agreement? Hands raise your hands. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary, for catching that. My apologies, everyone.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, back to the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did. Staff has put together a draft budget for 2024, which appears in your package, and it sort of summarizes the various payments and costs with respect to the various things. So we have some money in there for advertising meetings, which we are required to do. I should also let everyone know that we have set up a page on our website that will have its own distinct URL, so that people don't feel that they're visiting the municipality of Sioux Lookout website. That's actually the Sioux Lookout OPP Detachment Board page. So yeah, agendas and minutes will be posted there. Notices of meetings will be posted there, and so on. However, if there are opportunities to advertise in local newspapers, that's another way to kind of get the word out. These meetings are open to the public, with a few exceptions of when the board can go into closed session. So we have $807 in there for advertising. Given that this is the inaugural year, and we're sort of 6 months into the year, almost 7. Oh, yeah, we're 6 in. We're not suggesting, but again, this is up for the board's discussion. Staff didn't immediately identify any projects with respect to community engagement or outreach for the first 6 months, so we haven't put anything in that aspect of the budget. With respect to the community safety and well-being plans that the province has respected, that our respective communities develop, well, that all municipalities in Ontario develop, we aren't recommending any funds specifically for that this year. I suspect that the respective councils probably may have budgeted a little bit for that. I know Sioux Lookout did. We have a little bit of money to help with that implementation of that, because that is also a part of the board's function, is to support the implementation of the community safety and well-being plans. So we're not recommending any funds for that for this year or these first 6 months. Perhaps I'll not go through everything we're not recommending and focus on what we are recommending. That might be a little more effective. So insurance, the costs are still to be determined. We're working very closely with the ministry and the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards to sort of wade through what insurance is going to look like. The industry right now, because detachment boards are new creatures, the insurance industry hasn't quite figured out how to insure them. So we're estimating $2,000. And so we've put into the the budget. Legal, I don't, there may be something come up where we do need to consult lawyers on, especially because it is the early stages of implementation. So we've put $2,500 in there for that. Membership fees. We are suggesting membership with the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards for training, information, and resources. They have been incredibly helpful so far to us, and so we are recommending $1,800 for that annual membership. We have recommended 2,500 for what we're calling transition costs, just to sort of help with the transition from the old board to the new board and so on. Under the category of travel, training, and professional development, we've included some money in there, about $4,850 or so, for the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards. I mean, it does have an annual conference. That won't be enough to cover that, but they do have they have zones throughout the province, and I know in September, zone, is it 10, Mary, that we're part of?
One, actually, I think.
Oh, it goes the other way. Okay.
I think so,
AMCTO
yeah.
goes, the other way.
Yeah.
Okay. So there would be an opportunity in September to attend the Zone 1 meeting of the because it's in Thunder Bay. So we put a little bit of money in there in case the board wanted to send one of the members to participate in that. Let's see. We also put in $60 for the website. That's primarily to cover domain name registration and some of that really, really basic stuff. Hosting and storage and that kind of stuff, the municipality of Sioux Lookout will provide in kind. And we don't anticipate any other expenses for the first year. If at some point in the future the board wants to have its sort of own standalone website, the board could look at budgeting for that in future years, to set something like that up and to pay the hosting fees and so on and so forth. Then, of course, there's the remuneration that we've been discussing. And so that brings the total to 20,517. Now, with respect to the apportionment of those costs, again, this is all for the board's consideration. This isn't prescriptive. This is just suggestions. Staff are suggesting that the costs be apportioned on a basis of 55% and 45%, with Pickle Lake paying the 55, Sioux Lookout paying the 45, in recognition that the municipality of Sioux Lookout is contributing a percentage of costs related to the board in an in-kind basis. Again, that's just up there for for the board's consideration. So once again, I'll stop talking and hand things over to the board for discussion.
Did you have your hand up, Mayor?
Sure. Thanks, Chair. I'm obviously, as municipalities to look out, I say, whoopee, we're proposing to pay less. But I'm not sure if that's been discussed between the staff, Brian, Mary, Linda, coming into this meeting. Is that and how much the in-kind comes to? So I'm opening the door for Pickle Lake to say, are you kidding me? Or no, this is what we were expecting.
Um,
Yes,
yeah, I
Bob?
guess I'm not really sure why we're splitting it like that. Is there a good explanation for that? Why we want to pay, why Pickle Lake needs to pay 55% and Sioux Lookout needs to pay 45.
Brian,
So
can you answer that?
through you, Madam Chair, yeah, the thought was related to the fact that Sioux Lookout is sort of providing the administrative support for the board, for the most part, in terms of preparation and sort of putting together the package, developing all the framework, and sort of serving as the administrative support arm for the board. That was the thought, but again, that's just a thought.
Yes, Mayor.
I'm just the in-kind services and what you've just said, CAO. I in the development stages, I know there's been a lot of work being done uh, by Sioux Lookout. I think specifically Mary. I'm not sure, how involved Pickle has been, but I know that from going into the office and seeing Mary working, it's been for several months now on getting this police detachment board going. But in future years, that may not be the case. So I'm thinking that maybe we do it differently, and we have just a suggestion. We have a different formula that seems a bit more equitable, but there's a, a compensation perhaps in this first year that's separate. Don't know. I'm just throwing it out because I know in year two it may be the all this in-kind work may be a lot less, and there might be a requirement that Pickle Lake has to do some of their own because even though we're one board, there's going to be, I know, separate meetings probably to review statistics and other such things that I don't know how that all works. I'm
Yeah.
I'm looking to be informed.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm kind of curious on that
Okay.
too. So, um,
Yeah, I do see the administrative and stuff in setting up. It would be nice to see a 50-50 split or something more down the road. Um, that doesn't look good, us paying more.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot about this boards and how they work and administration and things.
Okay.
There's a lot for discussion, I would think.
Yeah. All right, Brian.
Through you, Madam Chair. So thank you. Yeah, so this is an exercise that is done annually. So the the idea this year was because Sioux Lookout undertook the work to kind of get everything in place. That was the suggestion for year one. Going forward, I would expect that the cost would be split 50-50. That's what the way the legislation describes it is it's split 50-50 unless the respective councils determine otherwise. So that's how it's set out in legislation. It was difficult for staff because there was, as Mayor Lawrence pointed out, there was a considerable amount of work put in, to get to where we are right now. And so, we were thinking for year one just to sort of recognize some of those costs. But again, if the board feels differently, or if the board feels, you know, I know nobody can presume to know what councils will do. These are recommendations to the respective councils. So, ultimately it'll be up to those councils to make the determination, but I'll just leave it at that for now.
Yes, Mayor.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'm going to suggest for the, and I know I can't speak for Pickle Lake, but I know what a struggle it was getting a budget passed at our council. Um, but I also know that the 5% differential here, we're talking about $1,000 or something. That it's not going to break our bank, and if we go 50-50, and there's actually provincial are telling us to do that, I just think it would be we won't have a comeback from Pickle Lake, and councillors around the Sulaco table won't be sitting around feeling guilty for being bullies on Pickle Lake. So I just think go 50-50 from the outset and get it done. That's my take.
Right. Okay. So what else do we need to do then?
So, Madam Chair, I have a resolution that I'm understanding that the consensus around the table is we'll move forward recommending to the respective councils a 50-50 split in the costs. And if that's the case, then I have a couple of resolutions ready for your consideration.
All right.
Thank you. So the first one is that the Sioux OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux approve the board's 2024 estimates budget as approved in principle by the board at its June 27th, 2024 Detachment Board meeting. So this is the actual estimates themselves, that total $20,517, I believe.
Mhm.
Yes, $20,517. So that's the first motion, that you approve that initial budget.
Okay.
If there's a mover and seconder, then the board could debate that.
So who moves? Mayor Doug moves. And seconder,
Okay.
John Miller, seconds. And can we have oh, sorry, Mayor, did you want to say something?
Yeah, question. Thanks, Chair. So does this work the same way as municipal budgets? This is a recommendation to our each municipality. Now, once this budget is adopted and the numbers are added up after 2024, and let's say we didn't go to a conference or whatever, and we're 5,000, what happens to the surplus?
The surplus that would have to be determined by the board in consultation with the councils. Staff would recommend that the board retain the surplus and use that towards its next year's expenses. The other option, of course, is that any surplus funds at the end of the fiscal would be returned to the respective municipalities on a 50-50 basis.
So the board would get to deal with the surplus first and make a recommendation to each of their councils and whether their council, okay, that's good. Yeah, it just doesn't, it's not automatically going to the municipality.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
And I'm sorry, I'm not assuming there's going to be a surplus, but I think I'm assuming there's not going to be a deficit either. So, thanks.
Okay. All right, so all in favor of that motion then, show of hands. 50-50, yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. And you know what? I just had another revelation. I need to further clarify. So what we're doing with respect to the expenses of the board is we're invoicing the municipalities as we go. So we're not asking for the total 20,517 up front. We're going to invoice the respective municipalities on a quarterly basis. So there shouldn't be a surplus or a deficit because we're only invoicing for the actual costs incurred. So sorry, but I did want to clarify that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next motion relating to the estimates reads as follows, if I may go ahead.
Yes, please.
Thank you. That the Sioux OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux approve the apportionment of operating costs, remuneration for the provincial appointee, and remuneration for the community representatives for the Sioux OPP Detachment Board on a basis of 50% Pickle Lake, 50% Sioux Lookout split. Yeah. So we would need a mover and seconder for that.
Okay. All right, we need a mover again.
I'll move.
Okay, John moves. John.
I'll second.
Sorry.
I'll
Bob.
second. Yeah.
Okay, Bob second. Okay. And show of hands, all in favor? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And one last one, which I will read for council for the board's consideration. Yeah, so this is respecting how that building will work, so that the Sioux OPP Detachment Board recommends that the councils of the Corporation of the Township of Pickle Lake and the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux approve that the Municipality of Sioux will provide a billing statement to the Township of Pickle Lake and the Municipality of Sioux for their portions of the operating costs of the Sioux OPP Detachment Board, their portions of the remuneration for the provincial appointee, and their portions of the remuneration for the community representatives on the board in accordance with the agreed upon apportionment on a quarterly basis. So again, this is saying that the respective municipalities would receive a statement or an invoice, if you will, on a quarterly basis for the costs actually incurred by the board, and that those costs would be sent to each municipality on a 50-50 basis, a 50-50 split basis.
Okay.
If everyone's in agreement with that, we would need a mover and seconder.
Okay. Mover.
I'll move.
Okay, Bob moves. Seconder, Mayor Doug Lawrence. All in favor, show of hands. Okay.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you very much, members of the board. That was the big one. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, we would go to, I suppose, item 10B.
Yeah, 10B, staff report from Brian McKinnon to determine regular meeting schedule of meetings for 2024, minimum 4 per year as attached.
Thank you. So yeah, so we have we've suggested some meeting dates for this year for the board's consideration. The Act does specify that the board must meet a minimum of 4 times per year, and Mary and I had a number of discussions about, well, the Act didn't come into force until April, and we're not able to meet until June. So do we still have to have 4 meetings from June to December? And then we started looking at the work that has to be accomplished between now and then, and thought, oh, that's probably going to be necessary to get everything done. So do have a report there. So the dates, the suggested dates, I'll just get to the point, and again, the board can discuss what's going to work for it. But we were suggesting, obviously today, June 27th, that one worked. The next one we were suggesting, or staff is suggesting, is July 25th. The purpose of that meeting would be to review and possibly approve the board's rules and procedures. That's something else that is required under the Act. Then the next meeting suggested is September 26th, and that would sort of be the first regular meeting where the detachment commander would be in attendance and provide statistics and updates and so on and so forth. Also at the September 26th meeting, we would undertake board orientation, so a bit of a training session. I know you're all probably feeling a little bit trained out after the online stuff, and there's still more online stuff to come, but this is more of an orientation just to make sure everyone's feeling comfortable and familiar with the procedures and processes that the board has adopted. And also at the September 26th meeting would be to start the process to develop the budget for 2025 and to start to have those discussions. Following that meeting, the next one being proposed would be Thursday, November 28th, which would be the continuation of regular meetings and finalizing the 2025 budget or estimates for submissions to the respective councils if it doesn't get finished at the September meeting. So that's sort of what we're proposing for 2024. And then going forward into 2025, essentially, we were suggesting, quarterly ish meetings that would be the fourth Thursday of the month. Those dates would be February 27th of 25, May 22nd of 2025. The focus of the May 22nd one, in addition to it being a regular meeting, would also be to work on the annual report. The board is required to report annually to the respective councils on their activities and so on. So we would suggest that has to be done in June of each year. So we would suggest that would be, direction to staff would happen at the May 22nd meeting, and then staff would pull it together and bring it forward to our respective councils by the June deadline. After that, if we continue with the fourth Thursday, it would be Thursday, August 28th, where we would start working on the 2026 budget. And Thursday, November 27th of 2025. So that's what the proposal is. But again, this is up to the board and what's going to work for your calendars. So I will stop talking again and turn it back over to the board to discuss.
I have a problem with that first date for July 25th. I am out of town at another meeting, so I won't be able to attend that one if it's going to be on July 25th. The other ones I'm okay with. I don't have any problem with them.
Yeah, I'll be out of town also on the 25th.
Okay, Bob.
I mean, where I'm at, I probably could join, but I can't be 100% sure that would happen. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 25th, 26th, it could have worked for me if it were the morning of the 25th, but I committed to Chief Bull to attend their celebrations out at Lac Sioux, 25th, 26th. And September the next date is
September 26th.
Yeah, I'm already committed, double committed for that for the 26th through 27th.
Sure.
The November date is fine. And as for next year, the fourth Thursday of the month seems to work for me. I mean, because of our council is third Wednesday, KDSB is third Thursday, etc. So fourth Thursday looks like it's workable. And the sooner it's committed, I'll put it in my calendar and hope not to be the one that says, oh, something else more important than you people have come up.
Okay. So we might have to move the July 25th date.
Yes, I think so for sure. Yeah.
There's three.
I know it's always difficult in the summer with people have vacations and travel and family and all that kind of stuff. So are there other dates in maybe early-ish August that might work for anybody?
I would think the 8th. I'm not too sure about the 1st. Um,
Okay.
but the 8th I think would work for me.
Great. Other
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay. Thumbs up from Mayor.
That works for me.
Okay.
August 8th.
Okay.
Okay. So the July 25th meeting shall be moved to August 8th.
Yes. Great.
Time, I guess.
Does this time work for folks? Is this a convenient time?
2 p.m. Okay.
Um,
Yes, Bob?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I see. See Linda. No, okay.
I know there's a time change coming up too in the fall. So
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We will have to be aware of that. Yes. So when the time change happens in November, what does that mean for Pickle Lake? Do you become ahead of us or do you go behind?
We become Thunder Bay time.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So then those meetings would be then 3 o'clock for Pickle. Okay.
Yeah.
In the winter months. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so
For September 26th, I'm
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
sending my regrets already then if it's going to stay at that date. I won't be able to attend.
Does the board want to look at other dates in September? Or October, I suppose, early October? Or did we just want to accept the mayor's regrets? That's entirely up to the board.
If you have quorum, then I would suggest you go ahead and yeah.
I mean any date in September would be fine with me. So um, if you want to the 19th or something.
Earlier.
I'm good if another date will work for you.
Sorry, if you're asking, so other dates that work for me. That was the 26th. So earlier that week works better than. So the 25th could work. 24th could work in the afternoon. 24th, actually the 23rd, 4th, or 5th all work at this time.
Sometimes Wednesday doesn't work for me, so 24th, I would say.
Good here.
Okay. So 24th, 2 p.m. September 24th instead of the
Should be good.
26th. Okay.
And sorry, Chair, staff, you'll be sending out meeting
Yes.
invites that we can all put into our calendars. Thanks.
Yeah, yes, we will.
So the orientation that we need to do might have to be moved then to the 24th. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
That's good.
Great. So I do have a motion for the board regarding the meeting dates, if you'd like, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Go ahead.
So that in accordance with the Community Safety and Policing Act, the Sioux OPP Detachment Board shall hold regular meetings 4 times per year, virtually, generally on the last Thursday of the month, starting at 2 p.m. Central, and further that notwithstanding the foregoing, meetings for the remainder of 2024 shall be held on August 8th to review and approve the rules and procedures. Tuesday, September 24th, which would resume the regular meeting with the detachment commander and start the 2025 budget process. And Thursday, November 28th, again, a regular meeting and to finalize the budget if necessary. May we have a mover and seconder?
Okay. Bob moves.
I move.
Okay. I'll second. Okay. And show of hands, everybody. Yep. Everybody agrees.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. And I think that's it for all your motions.
Yes.
Okay, thank
I
you,
promise it's
everybody.
not always going to be like this.
No, it's good. We're getting things done. Thank you for all your work. So we shall now move on to item number 11. So the next meeting date is August the 8th at 2 p.m. And everybody's agreed to that. And that we have moved that next July meeting to August the 8th. Okay. And number 12, motion to adjourn. So who moves? Mover.
Move.
Okay. John moves. And seconder,
No move.
Bob seconds. Okay, great. All right. So I guess we'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you for attending, and thank you, Brian, for working from where you are.